Hello, everybody. Welcome to the AV Geeks Lunchtime Streaming Show, where we watch old 16mm films. And I just took a shower because I had to move a bunch of flooring, not fluorine, the chemical gas, but flooring, vinyl laminate flooring and tile, which we're going to be having installed at the front of the archive. And man, I'm hoping soon we'll be able to move back. I love doing it from my house. It's very convenient, but I also like to have that separation. So I'm eager to get back to the house, to the archive, etc. Anyways, here's your movie camera and how to use it. Enjoy.
Hello, folks. My name is Charlie Wright. I'm going out with my new movie camera. Want to come along? The fellow who sold it to me said, just follow the instructions and you can't go wrong, Mr. Wright. There's the house of my neighbor, Joe and Mabel Titlehocker. It's a nice, typical suburban home with a baby, dog, cat, and mortgage. There's Joe Titlehocker arriving home with a package. I wonder what's in it. I know it's not his anniversary. I've never seen Joe so excited. All right, so he ain't me. Why, it's a camera like mine. I knew he'd get one as soon as he saw the one I had, the copycat. Yep, the instruction sheet is just like mine. It tells you exactly how to use your camera. I'm telling you, Joe, you better read it. Don't be a schmo, Joe. Joe's taking his first movies of his wife and dog Rover. Any resemblance between Rover and Joe is purely coincidental. Now, I'm anxious to see how his first attempt comes out. So is Joe, Mabel, and Rover. Here it comes, Joe's big moment. I'll bet Rover will think he's the new Lassie. What's that? Oh, it's not focused correctly. It must be a picture of Mabel and Rover. I only know it because I saw him shoot it. Now let's leave Joe and his troubles for a minute and see if we can find the correct way to focus. On the front of the camera is a lens. There are two types of lenses, focusing and fixed focus. With the fixed focus lens, no adjustment is necessary as all objects are sharp, except those very near the camera. The focusing lens has to be adjusted. Estimate the distance between camera and object and set the calibrated ring accordingly. This scene is incorrectly focused. As the focusing ring is rotated to the correct position, the scene becomes sharp. There's our Joe again with his camera. I hope he's smart enough not to make the same mistake. Mrs. Titlehocker sure looks like she's been busy. And so does the baby. Let's go back to Joe's living room and see how things look on the projection screen. I'll say this for Joe. He didn't make the same mistake twice. He overexposed. To obtain a good picture, the film must be correctly exposed. The lens is similar to the human eye. In the eye, there is an iris which expands and contracts to vary the amount of light reaching the retina. In the lens, there's a diaphragm, which also expands and contracts to vary the amount of light reaching the film. As the light increases, the diaphragm aperture must be made smaller. As the light decreases, the diaphragm aperture must be made larger. When the diaphragm aperture is correct for the amount of light admitted, the scene is properly exposed. If the diaphragm is opened too wide, the film becomes overexposed and is too light. If the diaphragm opening is too small, the film becomes underexposed and is too dark. Another point for the cameraman to consider is the direction of the sunlight. This statue has the sun shining on it from the front. The scene has no depth. It is usually more interesting to place the camera so that the sun lights the object from an angle. Now the statue has shadows in 3 dimensions. You know, cameras are wonderful. When Junior grows up, he can see a movie the first time he walks. And the first time Papa used his camera properly, I hope. You must hold the camera still, Joe. Shall we dissolve to the projection screen? What happened? It seems Mrs. T has a backache and Junior's disappeared. Now, if Joe doesn't mind, the correct way. Compose the scene in the viewfinder carefully. Otherwise, you will lose part of the scene the way Joe likes to do. With the viewfinder, you select good angles. A common fault is to shoot from a straight-on position without considering perspective. The automobile and table appear uninteresting when photographed this way. The most pleasing way of seeing an object is from an angle. And when we see 2 or more sides, we get a feeling of depth. Now the table and automobile take on added interest. People also are more interesting when seen from the side or from above or from below. Well, there's just no stopping our hero. Now he's using a tripod. Ouch! Is there a doctor in the house? Come here, you... Sorry, censored. You can see who wears the brains in that family. Anyone should know better than to set up a tripod on a slippery surface. Anyone but Joe, I guess. Stop. You wouldn't kick a cameraman when he's down, would you? The correct way to set up a tripod is to adjust the legs to the proper height and place it on a non-slippery surface. You can see, obviously, that isn't Joe. The camera is screwed onto the tripod. The tripod then levels. The tripod should be set at the right tension. One hand grips the handle of the tripod, while the other firmly grips the base of the camera. This enables the camera to be rotated slowly and smoothly. This is called panning. If the panning is carried out correctly, the results appear like this. But if the pan is too fast, as in this scene, or too jerky, as in this scene, the results will be useless. But if the pan is smooth, impressive effects can be obtained, including tilting the camera slowly upward. Well, Joe has thrown a party for the neighborhood children. While the kids are having a good time, he's getting some excellent shots. I wonder how excellent. Let's see how it looks on the screen. There's a shot of Ann and Tony, and a shot of the Dugan sisters, and there's a shot of... Sorry, I can't keep up with it. Here's the scenes run at correct length. It's so simple, even a child could do it. But I forget you're not a child anymore, are you, Joe? Scenes should be run long enough to give the audience a chance to see and enjoy them. And if the scenes are assembled in an interesting order, there will be a greater feeling of continuity. Scenes should be at least 10 seconds. Well, here's our little genius again. And here are the results again. Hey, Joe, you should not have set the speed indicator at 8 frames a second. You must set the speed indicator at 16 frames a second, which is normal for natural action. What a lovely scene. The kids have gone. Joe and his missus are relaxing. Why read that book, Joe? They didn't even have cameras in those days. Do you mind if I look over your shoulder? Joe, you really fooled me. Just follow instructions and you'll take some real fine pictures and fool everyone. So long, Joe. Goodbye, folks. See you all in the movies. Hey, look, I'm back. You surprised? Did you miss me? Well, before I say goodbye, let's summarize what we've learned. Remember, always focus the lens to the correct distance. Set the diaphragm for the right exposure. Compose the scene carefully in the viewfinder. Pan slowly and smoothly. Keep the camera running long enough on each scene. Set the speed indicator at 16. Above all, study your instruction book again and again. And, oh yeah, by the way, goodbye again.
That was pretty great, although it threw me that it was called, it was the 35 millimeter company. I was like, what? Home movies 35 millimeter? We have certainly scanned those, but it's extremely rich people before, generally from the 20s or 30s. So, birthday parties shot on 35 are just as interesting as birthday parties shot on 8 millimeter, just in case you're wondering. And a lot of those foibles of the neighbor, ones that I see in home movies all the time. So someone who is used to a just a regular still camera, and they just do like this, they go. There was somebody shot an entire party inside their house, and it was like 2 frames a person. It was insane. So I actually slowed it down for them because it was, I guess, their father shot it. So I slowed it down so you could see people, and it wasn't like this strobe of faces. And also, people sometimes will turn the camera this way, like they would like a still camera. And then this is a challenge because a lot of these cameras didn't have a reflex lens. So when you look through the lens, there is no lens to look through. You basically are looking through a viewfinder that's roughly giving you an idea of where things are. And you have to adjust the viewfinder depending on the length of your lens. And so that causes all sorts of problems. If it's off sync, if it's been like bent. So you'll see shots where it's just people's, like, their necks. Anyways, there you go. Let's look at the world of plant and animal communities, thanks to Encyclopedia Britannica. Oh, yeah, I was going to say about that last film. That was shot by the guy who did Skipper Learns a Lesson, and who also shot a bunch of Sid Davis films, I think. Anyways, so here's back to this film, The World of Plant and Animal Communities. Enjoy.
A community can be many different places. Anywhere living things depend on other living things for food or shelter, they make a community. For instance, anywhere people get together to share food, they make a community. Even plants and animals can make communities. And there are many kinds of plant and animal communities in many kinds of places. Let's look at part of a small community, a tree. Its high branches provide shelter for birds. Bees build hives in the tree trunk. Raccoons may have a den in a tree. The tree supplies animals with food, too. Insects eat its leaves and bark. So do deer. And when they eat parts of the tree, they also get the water stored in its leaves and stems. Every tree is part of a small community. But trees are part of even bigger communities called forests. Many plants live in forests. The plants provide shelter for animals and for each other. The larger plants protect the smaller plants from the heat of the sun. Plants are homes for many animals. Insects might attach a nest to a plant. Wasps, tent caterpillars, most plants make their food from sunlight, air, and water. The leaves of green plants are special food factories. They make all the food the plant needs, from sunlight, air, and water. Plants also get nourishment from minerals in the soil. Green plants are the only living things that use these things to make food, and at the same time give off the oxygen in the air we breathe. Plants are an important source of food and water in the forest community. Plants store water in their stems and roots. When animals eat the plants, they get the stored water too. Many forest animals eat plants or parts of plants every time they eat. They are the plant eaters. Bees eat the nectar and pollen from flowers and use them to make honey. Not all forest animals eat plants. Some animals live by eating other animals. They are the animal eaters. A raccoon might find a crayfish a tasty treat, but the crayfish might not like it. Birds eat worms, insects, and other small animals. When animals die, flies, crows, and worms feed on them. Animal droppings fertilize the soil and help new plants grow. When living things eat other living things, either plants or animals, it is called a food chain. Every community has food chains. One of the food chains in the forest community begins with grass. Grass is a plant that makes its own food from sunlight, air, and water. The grasshopper gets its food by eating the grass. The grasshopper is eaten by a toad. The toad is captured and eaten by a garter snake. The snake is snatched by a red-tailed hawk. When the hawk dies, its remains are eaten by flies, crows, and worms. Animals that eat animal remains are called scavengers. The droppings from these animals fertilize the soil and help plants to grow, so the food chain can start over again. Plants and animals depending on each other for food. This makes a food chain. Each living thing, plant or animal, is a link in the chain. There are many food chains. Food chains are found in every community, but the plants and animals in these chains are different from place to place. The desert looks almost lifeless. Its days are hot and dry under the burning sun. Even though it doesn't rain much on the desert sands, the desert, too, is a community of plants and animals. It, too, has food chains. A tall cactus has roots that hold it in place and help it to collect water. Water is stored in the cactus with the help of a thick, tough skin. The spines protect the cactus from many animals that might eat it. The cactus provides shade and shelter for animals. The desert has plant eaters, the tortoise, and insects such as beetles. Some animal eaters in the desert catch their food quickly. The roadrunner hunts many small animals, such as the mouse. Another link in the desert food chain is the vulture, a scavenger. Although plants provide shade during the day, many animal eaters hunt at night when the desert air is cooler. The desert community is most active during the night. The ocean is a community with water everywhere. Most of the earth is covered by the oceans. Most of the air we breathe is made by underwater plants, plants so tiny they can't be seen. There are also large plants. Large or small, ocean plants need sunlight. Animals live everywhere in the water. Whales, the largest animals on Earth, spend most of their lives near the surface to breathe and feed. Crabs spend most of their time at the bottom. The stingray lives at the bottom, too. Some fish swim all over to find food. Other animals stay in one place. A sea anemone may look like a flower, but it's really an animal. It is an animal eater, too. Almost all fish are animal eaters. Ocean animals find shelter from animal eaters in many ways. The kelpfish looks just like a leaf. It can hardly be seen until it moves. Halibut are even harder to see. The eel lives deep in the rocks. Some fish swim in large groups called schools. In large numbers, the fish can find food more easily. They are also safer from an enemy like the shark. The ocean is a community where plants and animals live, where they find food and shelter. Grass, as far as the eye can see. There are very few trees in the grassland community. The tall grasses have long roots that hold them in place and help them get water. Many animals depend on the grasslands for water, food, and shelter. Even large animals eat plants. The American bison, the pronghorn. The mouse is a plant eater, and it may become food for an animal eater, such as the rattlesnake. Owls eat snakes, mice, prairie dogs, and other animals. The prairie dogs live in underground homes. When they leave these homes to eat, the prairie dogs can be in danger of being caught by larger animals. When plant eaters and animal eaters die, their remains are eaten by scavengers, whose droppings are food for ants. The ants condition the soil, helping plants to grow in the grasslands. Most human food chains begin on the farm. Many kinds of plants grow on a farm, and they all use sunlight, air, and water to make their own food. Some farm plants are fed to farm animals. The animals might become food for people. Other farm plants become food for people, too. People are plant eaters and animal eaters. People need food to live. Food comes to us through food chains. Everyone who is part of a food chain is part of a community. Anywhere living things depend on other living things for food or shelter, they make a community. People, plants, animals all live in different types of communities, and all live in one big community, the planet Earth.
It was very calming slash boring. Not necessarily. This next film I've shown before, but it is honor of everyone who's going to the beach over Labor Day weekend. Bless your heart. Maybe you will see this man there. If you know the words, sing along. Enjoy.
Who is the one when the school day is done that the kids always run to its Uncle Smiley? Whose is the place where the kids always race? They've got no time to waste when it's Uncle Smiley. Uncle's the one who's always busy, they know, too busy working to get up and go. But Uncle's a friend who can never say no, so Uncle Smiley, get up and go. Uncle's the one, he's a barrel of fun. Just look out, here he comes. It's Uncle Smiley, stumbling around like a carnival clown. He's a part of the town, he's our Uncle Smiley. When there's a job to be done, old Uncle is always the one. No matter what happens, it's bound to be fun. So Uncle Smiley, get up and go. So Uncle Smiley, get up and go.
Hey, who's that way out there?
That's us, silly. Don't you remember? This is the movie of the last time we went to the beach with Uncle Smiley.
Oh, yeah, I remember. Boy, that sure was fun.
And we learned a lot of things that day, too, that we never knew before.
We sure did, and so did Uncle Smiley, especially about being careful around the water.
I'll say he almost drowned, for real.
But it sure was a nice day for swimming, and it sure was a nice beach, too. You know, I used to think that all beaches were pretty much the same.
Me, too, until Uncle showed us that other beach later on.
Hey, remember this? When Uncle tried to put up his beach umbrella?
How could anybody forget? Poor old Uncle Smiley. He has more trouble with mechanical things than almost anybody I know.
beach on a bright and sunny morning. Gonna take a splash in the big blue salty sea. It's fun to play by the big blue wavy ocean. Summer and sand by the big blue salty sea. Running hand in hand on a bright new morning. Umbrellas in the sand by the big blue sea. Splashing round you sometimes get the notion that everywhere is clean by the big blue sea. The sky is bright around us, the sand is white around us. The only sounds are of the sea. No litter on the seashore, no smoke to make your eyes sore. This is the way that it should be. Feel the white sand sifting through your fingers. See the crystals glitter bright and clear. Mix them with the water from the ocean. You can be a seashore engineer. Watch the water follow in your footprints. Running with your buckets filled with sea. Pure blue ocean trickling through your fingers. We're lucky that we have a big blue sea. The sky is bright around us, the sand is white around us. The only sounds are of the sea. No litter on the seashore, no smoke to make your eyes sore. This is the way that it should be.
Do you remember when Uncle ran into the ocean with that giant inner tube?
I'll say. He never even noticed the sign or the rocks or anything. Boy, was that a dangerous thing to do.
We all tried to stop him, but I guess he had made his mind up. Sometimes Uncle thinks that just because he's a grown-up, he can do things kids aren't allowed to do.
We kept shouting to him, but pretty soon he was so far out he couldn't even hear us.
Yeah, not only was he disobeying the sign, but he was using that old inner tube to float with.
And that's extra dangerous, because if you're in deep water and it ever breaks, you're really in trouble.
And especially Uncle Smiley, because he just kind of sinks.
The current kept taking him farther and farther away from shore and closer to those scary rocks.
There was nothing we could do but shout, and Uncle couldn't even hear us way out there.
I shouted so much my throat started hurting.
Boy, was I worried.
So was everybody, even the lifeguard. Uncle never heard him shouting either, even when he blew his whistle.
He never had any idea at all how much trouble he was in, but he sure found out in a hurry when he crashed into those rocks.
The inner tube popped and there was nothing for Uncle to hold on to.
Yeah, he was really in trouble when the lifeguard finally got to him. Those waves were really big near the rocks.
The lifeguard got there just in time.
He had a lot of trouble rescuing Uncle, too.
Yeah, he said he'd never saved anybody as heavy as Uncle before.
Poor Uncle Smiley.
another beach to show us what can happen to an ocean beach. Hard to realize how this could happen. Hard to understand how this could be. Too many people and too many empty trash cans. Too many boats dropping oil in the big blue sea. Too many cans and too many empty bottles. Too many things to hurt the big blue sea. Too many things to hurt the big blue sea.
Golly, that wasn't really a beach at all. I mean, it's hard to imagine that that place could ever have been a nice beach. Can you imagine going swimming there?
No, but it really was a nice beach once. Uncle Smiley said so, and people ruined it.
What kind of people would have done something like that?
Well, probably people just like us.
That's silly. We've never put poison in the water and killed fish or thrown piles of trash everywhere.
Well, it wasn't just a few people like us. It was probably hundreds of people, or maybe thousands even. Just think, if each person just dropped one empty can or spilled just a little bit of oil in the ocean, how much it would add up to all together.
While we were walking along the same beach a little later, we found a little white bird that was all tangled up in fishing line.
Yeah, it could hardly move. If we hadn't come along, I guess the little bird would have just starved to death.
Or broken his wings trying to fly away.
Uncle Smiley knew just what to do to untangle the little bird. He was very, very careful not to hurt it.
Uncle sure does love animals and birds and things, doesn't he?
Yeah, and I think they love him, too.
You know, I wish people realized that when they leave litter and things around like that fishing line, it can really hurt animals and birds, and people, too.
It's so easy just to take this stuff to a trash can and throw it away.
Speaking of trash cans, do you remember the one that somebody had turned over and emptied all over the sand?
Yeah, it didn't take us long to fix that one up, did it?
Most folks think the air we breathe is free. The same thing goes we feel for the big blue sea. The sea's so deep and wide we think whatever we throw will simply sink, but soon there may not be a big blue sea. The sky is bright around us, the sand is white around us, the only sounds are of the sea. No litter on the seashore, no smoke to make your eyes sore, this is the way that it should be. Going to the beach on a bright and sunny morning, gonna take a splash in the big blue salty sea. It's fun to play by the big blue wavy ocean, summer and sand by the big blue salty sea. So enjoy yourself and play by the ocean shore, but don't forget to keep in mind the score. There's little time now left to wait much more will be too late, 'cause soon there may not be a big blue sea. Nowhere that we can play beside the sea. There may not be a beach for you and me. There may not be a beach for you and me. 'Cause soon there may not be a big blue sea.
So I think Columbia Pictures sold Learning Corporation of America to Fox. So I think that Disney actually owns this. I could be wrong. It would be interesting if it was Sony. I don't know. Anyways, it's a big corporation that owns this. And Learning Corporation made a lot of amazing films. And Jim Burrows, who wrote the music for this, wrote a lot of amazing songs for many, many Learning Corporation of America films. Uncle Smiley, you love him, you hate him. The one thing that I like about this film is when he gets hit with a pie, it's not just a tin that has whipped cream in it. It has a crust. So when there's something really good where if you get hit with a pie, if it's just the whipped cream, it's not as good as if it's whipped cream and then there's, like graham cracker crust or whatever crust that is there. I just think that's a good pie in the face, is if there's actually crust that's being dealt with. That's my 2 cents. If you ask me what is important when it comes to putting a pie in somebody's face, if I was going to do that, I would go the extra effort and buy pie crusts and then fill them with whipped cream. Ideally, like it would be a real pie. That's how I would go. So, thank you, Nathan, for your generous support via the super thanks button for Uncle Smiley. We showed all of them that we have, but we get new ones, and in that one I think we're missing maybe 1 or 2. So as I find them, we'll watch them because I love those songs. All right, so here's a film by National Geographic about the Pacific Coast states. Enjoy.
During the night, the thought burst upon my mind that a curse might rest upon this discovery. I knew what the outcome would be, and it was a very melancholy ride to the sawmill on which I started the next morning. John Sutter foresaw the waves of pioneers who, in their search for gold, would brave the perils of a difficult journey west. They came to a largely untamed wilderness on the edge of a continent, at the crossroads of dramatic change. Spanning the full width of North America, from the Atlantic Ocean to the Pacific, stretching from Canada to Mexico, and including Alaska and Hawaii, the United States is the 4th largest country in the world. The Pacific Coast states are Washington, Oregon, and California. The 1848 discovery of gold in California brought great waves of pioneers to the region. Some gold seekers braved scorching deserts like Death Valley and snowy mountain passes of the Sierra Nevada mountains. Many would eventually settle on the coast, developing cities like San Francisco, Los Angeles, and San Diego. Pioneers journeying north to the Oregon Territory encountered the Cascade Range and a fiery volcano called Mount St. Helens. Many followed the Columbia River to the fertile Willamette River Valley, building the city of Portland. Still others, farther north on the shores of Puget Sound, established Seattle. This long, arduous journey began in earnest with news of a fateful morning at Sutter's Mill. The 49ers built cities and towns, but when the easy gold ran out, they moved on, destined to find riches of other sorts. Today, California's ghost towns remind new arrivals of the early gold seekers and the dream they share, a dream that was and is distinctly California. Los Angeles is the largest city in California and the heart of the entertainment industry. It presents images of American life known all over the world. In the magic kingdom of Disneyland, everyone is a child. At a Hollywood movie studio, visitors discover the tricks of the trade. California has grown since the thrilling days of yesteryear. It's now America's most populous state. Yet, less than 150 years ago, California was a Mexican province dotted by Spanish missions, like this one at Santa Barbara. Franciscan missionaries brought Christianity to Native Americans. Little by little, the city of the angels was born. Today, on a narrow street named Alvera, Los Angeles proudly proclaims its strong Mexican heritage. California shares an international border with Mexico. Because the countries enjoy friendly relations, many people travel across the border daily. However, customs inspectors do spot check vehicles for goods and people entering the United States illegally. Just north of the border is San Diego, with a natural harbor vital to the defense of the United States. One of San Diego's chief attractions is its magnificent zoo, where visitors and animals enjoy watching each other.
Oh, man.
North along the coast, graced by the Golden Gate Bridge, lies the city of San Francisco, the cultural and financial center of the Pacific Coast states. San Francisco's Victorian charm and century-old cable cars have survived amidst towering skyscrapers and modern technology. In Chinatown and nearby, the large Asian population maintains the ways of its heritage, contributing to the ethnic diversity of the city. In 1906, a great earthquake and subsequent fire destroyed much of this romantic city. The earthquake hazard remains a real threat to Californians. Much of the state is located on the juncture of two gigantic plates of the Earth's crust. These plates move past each other along a series of fractures called the San Andreas Fault. These movements cause earthquakes. Such seismic activity is monitored closely by scientists at the state's colleges and universities. While Californians have responded to the threat by trying to earthquake-proof important buildings, such as the Capitol in Sacramento, most residents seem to accept the risk as a part of daily life. California is the country's leading agricultural state. Its famous oranges are grown and harvested year-round. Almost anything can be grown in California. Tomatoes, lettuce, scallions, cucumbers, spinach, cauliflower, avocados, squash, carrots, peppers, corn, broccoli, yet little of this would be possible without irrigation. Water from melting snows in the Sierra Nevada mountains is the lifeblood for much of California's agricultural industry. Vast irrigation networks carry the water to the valley floors, changing former deserts into productive farmland. Northern California's Napa and Sonoma valleys produce many of the grapes used in the state's important wine industry. The centuries-old art of winemaking coexists with Northern California's high-technology industries. Tiny silicon chips manufactured here are the basic building blocks of hundreds of common electronic items, such as computers, video games, and cash registers. California, a state where high technology thrives next to a world of awesome primeval beauty, preserved in national parks like Yosemite for millions to enjoy. California, a state where lofty mountain peaks are graced with eternal snow, while the relentless sun bakes Death Valley, where years may pass with little more than a trace of rain. At Big Sur, endless waves sculpt the rugged coast. To the north, the ancient redwoods and sequoias stand, silently bearing witness to California as it changes and grows. Great joy in camp. We are in view of the ocean, the grandest and most pleasing prospects which my eyes ever surveyed. These words describing the Oregon coast were from the journal of William Clark, who, with Meriwether Lewis, set out in 1804 to explore the western lands of the Louisiana Purchase, on to the Pacific Ocean. they established Fort Clatsop, where they spent several months making observations of plants and animals and preparing for the long journey home. Today, members of the park staff faithfully recreate the work of Lewis and Clark in a living history program commemorating the explorers' remarkable achievements. Oregon's coast remains as picturesque today as it was in the days of the early explorers. Much of the coast is public parkland, interrupted only by occasional towns and fishing villages. Sea lions find welcome havens in the shadowy caves along the coast. Many people earn their living from Oregon's vast forests, where timber is grown and harvested for use in the construction and paper industries. The goal of many early pioneers to the Pacific Northwest was the fertile Willamette River Valley, which today is a center of agriculture and commerce. Near the northern entrance to the Willamette Valley lies Oregon's largest city, Portland. Portlanders have adapted well to the rainy climate typical of western Oregon. Portland is located near the Columbia River, which marks part of the boundary between Oregon and Washington. Where the Columbia River meets the Pacific Ocean, one of the world's most dangerous stretches of water can be found. Hundreds of lives have been lost here in the treacherous surf. At day's first light, seasoned fishermen, well aware of the dangers, depart in search of prize catches of salmon and other fish in these rich fishing grounds. Salmon not caught by fishermen make their way hundreds of kilometers upriver to spawning streams. Migrating fish face numerous obstacles, such as the river's many dams, including the Grand Coulee. Water stored by the dam irrigates much of the dry but fertile soil of central and eastern Washington. The Grand Coulee Dam is also capable of producing millions of kilowatts of hydroelectric power for distribution to towns and industries throughout the Pacific Northwest. Eastern Washington and Oregon make up a region of vast farms and cattle ranches, where an American folk hero is at home, the cowboy. The skill and sheer determination of the cowboy are celebrated at the annual Pendleton Roundup. The cowboy was not the first American to ride the range. Tribal dancing at the Roundup displays the heritage of the Native Americans who peopled this region long before white men arrived. The Cascade Range separates dry eastern Oregon and Washington from the lush green western forests. Abundant rain falls each year in the rainforests of Olympic National Park on Washington's Northwest Peninsula. The snow-capped peaks of the Olympics and the Cascades frame the Puget Sound region, where most Washingtonians live in fishing villages, towns, and cities, including the state capital at Olympia. An unusual school in Port Townsend teaches the traditional craft of wooden boat building. On a much different scale, modern aircraft are built and assembled by an industry vital to the economy of the region. Seattle is the largest city in Washington and the jewel of the Pacific Northwest. Like any city, Seattle has its share of attractions, especially its connection to the great outdoors. Dominating the city's skyline is a dormant volcano and popular vacation spot, Mount Rainier. But in the spring of 1980, the eyes of the world were on a lesser-known peak in southwest Washington, Mount St. Helens. In the shadow of the sleeping volcano, campers had enjoyed the beauty of the peak and the crystal clear water of Spirit Lake. But beginning in March 1980, earthquakes and minor eruptions warned scientists that major changes were taking place deep within the mountain. On the 18th of May at 8:32 in the morning, the volcano awoke with the force of some 500 atomic bombs. Tons of ash, stone, and ice were rocketed 20 kilometers into the sky. At noon, it looked like midnight in much of eastern Washington. Ice and snow melted by the intense heat of the erupting volcano, mixed with ash, and rushed down the sides of the mountain. When the skies finally cleared, vast areas of prime timberland lay destroyed. Spirit Lake, where sailboats once sailed, was choked with debris. At least 60 people were dead or missing, and more than 400 meters were gone off the top. Geologists keep a watchful eye on the steaming crater while monitoring the mountain's changing moods. While much of the salvageable timber has been pulled from the blast zone, a portion of the area will be preserved as a national monument to the remarkable events that took place here. Mount St. Helens may erupt again, but in the meantime, the healing process has begun. From the first glimmers of gold in the eyes of the 49ers to the scientists' belief in a tiny silicon chip, the American West has fulfilled the hopes of some dreamers and dashed the hopes of others. All these dreamers have in turn left their mark upon the land, shaping it to reflect their ideals. There remain forces that forever dwarf human purpose and achievement. Forces that defy all attempts to tame the Wild West.
So we got some MSH in there, Mount St. Helens. Yeah, that was a meandering film that could have been broken down into 3 films, one for each state. And yeah, California got a lot of love in there. Oregon and Washington State, a little bit. But yeah, it was interesting that they mentioned Disneyland because now they are owned by Disney, as Disney owns everything. Owns our childhood, so they own Schoolhouse Rock, they own After School Specials, a lot of ABC programming, they own a lot of Fox stuff. It's frustrating. But all this stuff falls in between the cracks. You know, Disney is not going to care so much about a film that is about family planning, because they're like, I don't know, have we ever released that theatrically? I'm not sure. And yeah, stuff like that. And that's where we come in. We have all that stuff that all the big media companies forgot about. And we share with you until they tell us we can't. Thanks for joining us today. We will be back again tomorrow. If you like what you saw, you can donate via the Super Thanks button, which is in the YouTube chat. You can also donate via ko-fi.com/avgeeks, patreon.com/avgeeks. But also watching other films that we have on the channel has, it's been great. Rabies is not the top film that's being recommended by YouTube. It's other films, including this Farm Family in the Winter, which for some reason has blown up because the thumbnail looks like somebody that's an ultimate fighter. What a weird world we live in. People are like, "Oh, what is this? It looks like this Ultimate Fighter," and that's what all the comments are. Like, it looks like this Ultimate Fighter. It looks like his dad. Yeah, whatever it takes for you to watch an educational film from the late 50s, early 60s. Let's go for it. Let's do it. Anyways, we'll be back again tomorrow. Everybody have a great rest of your day. We will see you soon. Take care.